Trust the workspace, not the agent. When a coding agent says it has reproduced a paper, you have no reason to believe it. The final message is cheap. A team at Purdue built a coding agent skill called paper replication that turns replication into a target-level evidence contract inside a persistent workspace with external validation checks. Completion stops being the agent's claim and becomes a workspace state. Every recorded target matched, every check passed, the report PDF exists, or it is not done. 12 independent runs across 4 scientific machine learning papers, all 12 reaching the completion gate, all 158 recorded targets matched. The forward pass. Read the paper materials and record every computational claim as a target: a figure, a table, a reported scalar, a learned field. Reconstruct an implementation and produce a candidate result. Compare it to the paper reported quantity under an acceptance rule you wrote down before judging, not after. Wrap the result, the execution record, the provenance, the comparison, and the report coverage into one evidence bundle. A target counts as matched only when every required part exists and an external check accepts it. An output artifact alone never counts. The completion gate is the conjunction of all of it: every target matched, no active target left, the report PDF on disk. The gap it fills. A bare coding agent optimizes for a convincing final message. It can hallucinate a number, copy a paper figure, or quietly change the acceptance rule until it passes. 3 problems. You cannot tell which claim a reproduced figure actually supports. You cannot resume after a crash because state lives in the chat. And a passing final message proves nothing. Paper replication keeps the work in files the agent cannot fake at the end: a manifest, a source inventory, a reproduction matrix, a run recorder, a provenance tree, hashes of every output. Completion is a directory you can audit. The variation the headline hides. Across the 4 papers, the agent did not even agree with itself on how many targets a paper has. Decomposition ratio is the max over min target count across 3 independent runs. Cindy is stable at 1.0, and pin 2 drifts to 1.7. PIFT swings to 3.1, 8 targets in one run, 25 in another. The same paper, the same prompt, 3 different decomposition sizes. That run-to-run variation is the citable finding, not the 12 out of 12, because the headline is confounded by an agent that picks its own target list, where the agent is least consistent on judgment agreement. For every aligned claim, does each run record the same acceptance rule type? PIFT 0.95, almost locked in. Pin I drops to 0.73. Pin 2 0.50. Cindy 0.46, barely half. The harder the paper, the more the agent disagrees with itself about what counts as a match. Same workspace contract, 4 papers, a smooth decline in rule consistency. The skill reproduces results, but the rule under which it agrees it has reproduced them is not stable. Here is the payoff in pictures. Before, a scientific paper figure on the page, a learned field over a domain. The agent reads the target, reconstructs the solver, runs it under the recorded seed, and writes a candidate. After, the reproduced field, overlaid for comparison inside the paper's own tolerance. The agent never asserts they match. It records both, the comparison and the provenance, and an external check accepts or rejects. The figure on the right is not the proof. The evidence bundle behind it is. How clean the scalar matches actually are on the 39 scalar claims across the runs. 37 sit inside the paper-anchored tolerance with positive log headroom, the reproduced value closer than the threshold requires. 2 are outliers, outside tolerance, flagged, not hidden. So the honest read of 158 matched is 37 of 39 scalars genuinely inside tolerance, 2 carried as known outliers, and the rest distributional or structural claims judged under recorded rules. The match rate is real, but it is a match rate under the agent's own rules. 5 honest caveats. First, all 4 papers are scientific machine learning benchmarks from one lab, so the skill is shown on a narrow, friendly slice. Second, there is no baseline coding agent to compare against, so we never learn how much of the win is the workspace contract versus the underlying model. Third, the acceptance rules are agent-chosen and lenient, which inflates the match rate. Fourth, effort varies 1.2 to 13 hours with roughly 2 times run-to-run spread, so even the cost is unstable. Fifth, 2 of 39 scalars are outliers and judgment agreement falls to 0.46 on Sindai. Cite the evidence, contract workflow, not a 12 for 12 trophy. Trust the workspace, not the agent. Paper replication turns paper reproduction into a target-level evidence contract in a persistent workspace with external checks, so completion is a directory you can audit, not a final message you have to trust. 12 runs across 4 scientific machine learning papers, 158 recorded targets matched, 37 of 39 scalars inside tolerance. Subscribe for the next breakdown.